Hello and welcome to the February 2nd, 2025 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, I am putting money into this project of ours. We're on every Sunday, and I thank you so much for tuning in live with us on the Facebook page or the YouTube page or catching the replay. That's right, we are on Facebook and YouTube. We are simulcasting. Hooray! This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to combat every time. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back into the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co, but we appreciate all the articles that are sent in by you, the viewers. Here we are on the 2nd of February. We have made it to the second month of 2025, and I can't believe the year is flying by like it is. Let's get into our news, Brew, because we have a very special bottle. So, I was at my parents' house having dinner. It was a wonderful spaghetti dinner, and I'm brutally Italian, so you know how that must have been. It was unbelievable. But afterwards, my dad said, "Hey, I have a beer for you." We went down to his beer fridge, and sure enough, there was a bottle that both of us recognized. And this is the bottle from Fiore Family Cellars. This is a bottle of 9250 by what my father and I call Knuckleheads Brewing. Now, what that is homebrewing. My father and I homebrewed this beer, and what we brewed was an amazing Imperial Stout back in 2023. It clocks in at 11% ABV, and it was brewed and it was aged on dark raisins and Maker's Mark bourbon barrel staves. It was amazing then, and I'm looking forward to it now, to this last bottle of it, before we eventually brew more. So it may not have been a winner. We brewed it for a competition, and it may not have been a winner, but it is a winner in my book. So to my father and son brewing, Dad, cheers. And yes, according to producer Donna, that's a big bottle. Now, because we have a big bottle, we need the Battle Song bottle opener. Battle Song bottle opener is getting a little bit worn out finally, so I might need to get my hands on a new one, if just to keep the bid up. That is 9250. Now, why do we call it 9250? Because back when my father was in the Coast Guard, 9250 was the motor oil that they used on the boats. And this stuff looks just like it. We have our harpoon snifter, because we are dealing with an Imperial Stout. So, let's get into the theatrics of a 20-second pour. Maybe a little less than 20 seconds, but that stuff is dark. This is a dark beer. Wow. The raisin and the oak from those barrel staves has aged well with this beer. Let's get into our shout-outs. Our first shout-out is going to be to OrpheusQuine the Twitch streamer. OrpheusQuine is the friendliest pirate on the Sea of Thieves, a gamer, a beer lover, and an all-around nerd extraordinaire. You can join him for Sea of Thieves adventures, weekly craft beer reviews, and tabletop role-playing action. His channel is an all-ages, all-inclusive, family-friendly channel, and links are in the description on our YouTube and Facebook post. To OrpheusQuine, cheers. Wow. Wow. Oh, that kicks. So, next we have a shout out. It's something we gotta let everybody know. So we may do this shout out a couple more times. Meta has made the decision to end their support of fact-checking programs across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Basically, everything under Meta is no longer subject to fact-checking. This is going to leave them and us open to a whole lot of mis and disinformation, and we're not about that. In light of this action, we have decided that we can no longer accept Facebook pages and articles as submissions to Nick's News. We strive to not only bring you good news every week, but also accurate news, and we want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Facebook also has a tendency to make these links inaccessible. If the Facebook post has a link to the article, please simply send the article link as opposed to the entire Facebook post. Just highlight it, copy and paste it, and send that to us. Don't send us the whole Facebook post, just the article link. We thank you very much for understanding. I know this kind of sucks because in the past we haven't had a problem with this, but now Meta is making us have a problem with this. So again, we thank you all for your understanding, and if you come across a great article but it's in a Facebook post, just copy the link and send us the link to the article and we'll present that. So thank you, everybody. Cheers. And yes, from producer Donna, if you check out OrpheusQuine, tell him Nick's News sent you. Two of our Nick's Newsies are celebrating birthdays. Newsie Mike is celebrating his birthday today, here on the 2nd of February, and Travis is celebrating his birthday on the 7th of February. So happy birthday to both of you, and cheers. Hey Mona, in the YouTube chat, thanks Nick, had to jump off the indivisible organizing video. We're glad to have you here. All right, I'm going to top off this bottle. My cheeks are going to get redder and redder as I am reading this and as I'm going through tonight's broadcast and drinking this beer. News quote: "Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two breaths." Obviously, the day is long, and sometimes very difficult. And sometimes the best thing you can do is stop and take a breath. And with it comes that quote, sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest that we take between two breaths. That comes from Eddie Hillesum, who was a Dutch Jewish author of conventional letters and diaries, which described both her religious awakening and the persecutions of the Jewish people in Amsterdam during the German occupation. I think with everything going on, with Nick's News trying to be a nice little bastion of good news, countering all the bad news that we're bombarded with, we also need to remember to take care of ourselves, and we want to promote everybody taking care of yourselves. When you've got to breathe, sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take between two breaths. So to Eddie Hillesum, thank you for that quote. Cheers. Bug update. Elmira's snooze continues uninterrupted. Sue almost stole a pair of tweezers from me while I was checking in on him. I hadn't seen him in a little bit, so I just took the tweezers and I reached in. And sure enough, he immediately reached up and grabbed the tweezers with one of his claws. And then he grabbed the other end with the other claw. And then he pulled. And I was actually very surprised at how strong that little guy is. So Sue almost took some tweezers from me. Ripley scuttled around and clicked so loudly that I jumped out of this chair yesterday. It was horrifying. And lastly, our mantis battle suffered another loss, and we are now down to just 2 contestants. Mr. Stick, our nice brown color morph baby mantis, was consumed by Mean Green, who at this point we are referring to as the Kurgan. And now it's just down to the Kurgan and Droopy. The other mantis molted, and it was suffering from droopy abdomen syndrome, but luckily I was able to help fix that a bit. So now it's just down to Kurgan and Droopy. Who will be the last? Who will become Mantis McCloud? We'll wait and see, because it looks like the Kurgan is ready to molt again, and this battle is getting towards its end. Mona in the YouTube chat, I like the Calm app to keep me sane. I might have to check out that app too, Mona. Thank you for mentioning that. All right, let's get into our good news. Our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice, heartfelt articles we like to end on. So, we are going to start off in category 1, science and technology. I call this article, Skynet Brings Us Closer to Judgment Day. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. New wonder material designed by AI is as light as foam, but as strong as steel. This was posted to livescience.com. It was posted 2 days ago, so back on the 31st of January, by Ben Turner. Scientists have used artificial intelligence to design never-before-seen nanomaterials with the strength of carbon steel and the lightness of styrofoam. The new nanomaterials, made using machine learning and a 3D printer, more than doubled the strength of existing designs. The scientists behind the new study said they could be used in stronger, lighter, and more fuel-efficient components for airplanes and cars. They published their findings January 23rd in the journal Advanced Materials. I might need to check that out because I love material science. We hope that these new materials designs will eventually lead to ultralight weight components in aerospace applications, I also love aerospace, such as planes, helicopters, and spacecraft that can reduce fuel demands during flight while maintaining safety and performance. Co-author Tobin Philliter, a professor of engineering at University of Toronto, said in a statement, "This can ultimately help reduce the high carbon footprint of flying." I really like that. In many materials, strength and toughness can be at odds. Take a ceramic dinner plate, for example. While plates are usually strong and can carry heavy loads, their strength comes at the cost of toughness. It doesn't take much energy to make them shatter. The same problem applies to nano-architectured materials, whose construction from multitudes of tiny repeating building blocks that are just 1/100th the thickness of a human hair makes them strong and stiff for their weight, but can also cause stress concentrations that lead to sudden breakages. So far, this tendency to shatter has limited the material's applications. As I thought about this challenge, I realized that it is a perfect problem for machine learning to tackle. First author Peter Searles, an engineering researcher at Caltech, said in a statement, "To search for better ways to design nanomaterials, the researchers simulated possible geometries for their design before passing them through a machine learning algorithm. By learning from the designs they had generated, the algorithm was able to predict the best shapes that would evenly distribute applied stresses while also carrying a heavy load." I noticed over in the YouTube chat, Joseph Ahrens asked, "Why can't you separate the mantis?" I could, but then I would just have to deal with more mantises. The way that I am handling this situation is maybe forced nature, maybe forced evolution, or forced natural selection of who is the better mantis in that tank. I didn't want to have to go and set up so many tanks as I have in the past, so I just have the one tank, and we're going to see what my one mantis is when it's all said and done. A little cruel, a little... I mean... They gotta eat. I feed them regularly too, so we'll see what happens. Back to the article. With these shapes in hand, the researchers used a 3D printer to create their new nanolattices, finding that they could withstand a stress of 2.03 megapascals for every cubic meter per kilogram, a strength that's 5 times higher than titanium. This is the first time machine learning has been applied to optimize nano-architected materials, and we were shocked by the improvements, Searles said. It didn't just replicate successful geometries from the training data, it learned from what changes to the shapes worked and what didn't, enabling it to predict entirely new lattice geometries. The researchers said their next steps will center on scaling up the materials until they can be used to make bigger components, while also searching for even better designs using their process. The primary aim is to design much lighter and stronger components for vehicles in the future. For example, if you were to replace components made of titanium on a plane with this material, you would be looking at fuel savings of 80 liters per year for every kilogram of material you replaced, Searles said. That is awesome. Lightweight, super strong materials that can be used for helicopters, airplanes, spacecraft, all sorts of applications made from nano architecture designed by machine learning. We are getting closer and closer to the Terminator franchise in real life. Thanks, Caltech. Cheers. And now I'm questioning if that was good news. Hi, Rebecca in the Facebook chat. Thank you very much for sharing. I am so appreciative to you. Thank you, Rebecca. Cheers. Ooh. Hold up. Wait a minute. There we go. I accidentally closed an article. Whoopsie. So that's going to take us out of health, or out of science and technology. We're going to jump into category 2, health and medicine. And this article comes from Kendra. So Kendra, thank you very much for sending this in. We called it First Time in Over 20 Years. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Hey, Will. In the Facebook. Skynet is inevitable, says Will. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this article into the chat. FDA approves first new class of opioid-free painkillers in over 20 years. This, too, was posted to livescience.com. It was posted as well on the 31st of January by Patrick Pester. The Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has greenlit a new type of pain medication for the first time in more than 20 years. What's more, the new painkiller doesn't include opioids like many painkillers currently on the market do. The FDA announced Thursday on January 30th that it had approved the new class of prescription painkiller called Suzetrigine. How do we pronounce this? Suzetrigine. Man, it sounds like Etrigan from the DC universe. Suzetrigine. Sold under the brand name of Jornavsk. Jornavsk? There's an X in there that should not be in there. Jornavsk is what we're going to call it. Today's approval is a historic milestone for the 80 million people in America who are prescribed a medicine for moderate to severe acute pain each year. Dr. Reshma Kewalramani, CEO and president of Vertex Pharmaceuticals, the drug's manufacturer, said in a statement. Jornavsk, I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. It's horrifying. V and X do not go next to one another, but all right. Jornavsk can treat moderate to severe acute pain, meaning short-term pains caused by things like physical trauma or surgery, according to the statement. Doctors often treat this type of pain with painkillers or analgesics that can contain opioids. Will in the Facebook chat. Sometimes I really wonder why they choose the names they do. You know what, Will? I'm right there with you. Rebecca also cheering me on. You got this. Thank you, Rebecca, in the Facebook chat. Opioids are a class of drugs that work by activating specific receptors in the brain and body, and by doing so, block pain signals. While they may offer effective pain management, they can also induce a high or a sense of euphoria. These effects can reinforce the act of taking the drug and thus make them very addictive, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or the NIDA. Opioid addiction, or opioid use disorder, is a public health crisis in the U.S. In 2022, 76% of drug overdose deaths involved opioids, found in both legally prescribed medicines and illegal drugs such as heroin. which amounted to 82,000 people, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC. The vast majority of opioid drug overdose deaths involve illegally manufactured fentanyl, according to the NIDA. The newly approved drug suzetrigine doesn't produce a high like opioids can. Instead, Jernavsk blocks pain signals in peripheral pain-sensing neurons, or nociceptors. These neurons are in the peripheral nervous system, meaning they're not the brain, so they can provide pain relief without carrying the addictive potential of opioids, according to Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Rebecca, I could have used these 3 weeks ago. Rebecca, hoping that you are doing better. Researchers tested Jernavsk in trials involving 874 participants who experienced acute pain following surgery, according to the FDA's statement. The researchers conducted 2 randomized, double-blind trials, which means the drug was randomly assigned to some patients while others got a placebo, and neither the doctors nor the patients knew who had the real medication. The participants also had access to ibuprofen, a non-opioid, if needed. Ibuprofen works by messing with enzymes involved in producing pain signals and inflammation, so it's got its own thing going on, apart from this. The trials found that patients taking Jernavsk had much greater pain reduction than those on the placebo, according to the FDA statement. Jernavsk has been approved to treat adults only, and Vertex Pharmaceuticals notes that it's currently unknown whether the drug is safe and effective for children. Common Jernavsk side effects include itching, a rash, muscle spasms, and increased levels of creatine phosphokinase, an enzyme often associated with stress or injury that some medications can drive up in concentration. Jernavsk may also temporarily hinder female fertility, reducing the chances of becoming pregnant during treatment, according to the Vertex Pharmaceuticals people. Patients who have concerns about this should speak with their doctor before taking the drug, the company advises. Today's approval is an important public health milestone in acute pain management, Dr. Jacqueline Corrigan-Curry, acting director of the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, said in a statement. A new non-opioid analgesic therapeutic class for acute pain offers an opportunity to mitigate certain risks associated with using an opioid for pain and provides patients with another treatment option. That is awesome. So to everybody involved at Vertex Pharmaceuticals working out a non-opioid, and the first one that has been approved by the FDA in more than 20 years for severe acute pain, for moderate to severe acute pain, and to Kendra for sending in that article. Cheers. That's going to take us out of health and medicine. We're going to get into category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. And we're going to start off this category with a heckin' good boy. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Trained dogs working inside hospitals help ease burnout among healthcare staff. This was posted to npr.org. It was posted on January 24th of 2025 by John Daly. Outside HCA Health One Rose Medical Center in Denver, the snow is flying. Inside, on the 3rd floor, there's a flurry of activity at labor and delivery. There's a lot of action up here. It can be very stressful at times, said Dr. Christina Frazier, an OBGYN in blue scrubs. Nurses wheel a very pregnant mom past. We're going to bring a baby into this world safely, Frazier said, and off we go. She said she feels ready. She said she feels ready in part thanks to a calming moment she had just a few minutes earlier with some canine colleagues. A pair of dogs, tails wagging, had come by a nearby nursing station, causing about a dozen medical professionals to melt into a collective puddle of affection. A yellow lab named Peppy showered Frazier in nuzzles and kisses. I don't know if a human baby smells as good as that puppy breath, Frazier had said as her colleagues laughed. The dogs aren't visitors. They work here too, specifically for the benefit of the staff. I feel that dogs just... I feel that... This sentence is written very poorly. I feel like that... Oh, there it is. I feel like that dog just walks on and everybody takes a big deep breath and gets down on the ground and has a few moments of just decompressing, Fraser said. It's great. It's amazing. Hospital staff who work with the dogs say there is virtually no bite risk with the carefully trained Labradors, the preferred breed for this work. The dogs are kept away from allergic patients and washed regularly to prevent germs from spreading, and people must wash their hands before and after petting them. Mona in the YouTube chat, therapy dogs are the best. They really help. I agree. I don't think I've ever met anybody that has a therapy dog that would say that that dog did not help. And just having them in a situation or a scenario or an area where it's just a high-stress environment just makes sense. Doctors and nurses are facing a growing mental health crisis driven by their experiences at work. They and other healthcare colleagues face high rates of depression, anxiety, stress, suicidal ideation, and burnout. Man, my nose is itchy over on this side. Nearly half of health workers reported often feeling burned out in 2022, an increase from 2018, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. In addition, the percentage of healthcare workers who reported harassment at work more than doubled over that 4-year period. Advocates for the presence of dogs in hospitals see the animals as one thing that can help. That includes Peppy's handler, Susan Ryan, an emergency medicine physician at Rose. Ryan said years working as an emergency room doctor left her with symptoms of PTSD. I just was messed up and I knew it, said Ryan, who isolated more at home and didn't want to engage with friends. I shoved it all in. I think we all do. She said doctors and other providers can be good at hiding their struggles because they have to compartmentalize. How else can I go from a patient who had a cardiac arrest, deal with the family members telling them that, and go to a room where another person is mad that they've had to wait 45 minutes for their ear pain, and I have to flip that switch? To cope with her symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, Ryan started doing therapy with horses. But she couldn't have a horse in her backyard, so she got a Labrador. Ryan received training from a national service dog group called Canine Companions, becoming the first doctor trained by the group to have a facility dog in the emergency room. Canine Companions has graduated more than 8,000 service dogs. The Rose Medical Center gave Ryan approval to bring a dog to work during her ER shifts. Ryan's colleagues said they are delighted that a dog is part of their work life. When I have a bad day at work and I come to Rose and Peppy is here, my day is going to be made better, EMT Jasmine Richardson said. And if I have a patient who's having a tough day, Peppy just knows how to light up the room. Nursing supervisor Eric Valancourt agreed, calling Peppy joyful. Ryan had another dog, Win, working with her during the height of the pandemic. She said she thinks Win made a huge difference. It saved people, she said. We had new nurses that had never seen death before, and now they're seeing a COVID death. And we were worried sick, we were dying. She said her hospital system has lost a couple of physicians to... They've lost a couple of physicians in the past 2 years, which HCA confirmed to KFF Health News and NPR. Ryan hopes the Canine Connection can help with trauma. Anything that brings you back to the present time helps ground you again. A dog can be that calming influence, she said. You can get down on the ground, pet them, and you just get calm. Ryan said research has shown the advantages. For example, one review of dozens of original studies on human-animal interactions found benefits for a variety of conditions, including behavioral and mood issues and physical symptoms of stress. Rose's president and CEO, Casey Goober, became such a believer in the Canine Connection that he got his own trained dog to bring to the hospital, a black lab retriever mix named Ralphie. She wears a badge, Chief Dog Officer. Goober said she's a big morale booster. Phenomenal, he said. It is not uncommon to see a surgeon coming down to our administration office and rolling on the ground with Ralphie, or one of our nurses taking Ralphie out for a walk in the park. That is really cool. To everybody at the... What was the name of this place again? I gotta find it. HCA Health One Rose Medical Center in Denver for including canine companions, heckin' good boys, to help alleviate symptoms of stress and burnout. Cheers. Top myself off again. Are my cheeks getting a little rosy? Looks like it. Alright, we called this next one Turtle Power. This turtle needed a rat sensei. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Lacking ninja training, trapped turtle is rescued from city sewer by police and firefighters. This was posted to goodnewsnetwork.org. It was posted on January 30th of 2025 by Andy Corbley. Fire department officers on Florida's Sanibel Island were alerted to the plight of a local turtle who had fallen into the sewer. What's more, it seemed to the first responders that the terrapin lacked certain mutations and ninja-like agility known to be common in sewer turtles, and therefore needed someone else to save it. Captain Robert Wilkins and his team received the call from a local on a December day shortly before Christmas. The call came into the firehouse, and the lady was obviously distraught, Wilkins said. She was telling us the turtle was in a drain, and it had been there for 3 or 4 days. She'd called multiple people to help it, and no one was coming. A sanctuary island for species of all stripes, the drain was located in a nearby strip mall. Down below, there was enough water to keep the turtle's skin moist, but all around were piles of muck and debris. Wilkins and his team told local news that the turtle was armed with neither samurai swords nor nunchucks, and despite the short-sighted decision not to bring any pizza, the turtle surprisingly didn't ask for any. Opening the grate, 2 of the fire department officers lowered a third down into the small shaft by his legs. Firefighter Alan Shelm volunteered for the job and managed to get the turtle out single-handedly. Fort Myers News Press reports that the trio has earned new nicknames, including Michelangelo. We may or may not have ordered some rubber duckies with that written on them, Shelm noted. But for the turtle itself, locals on scene drew from a different inspiration than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We held him up and asked them what he should be called, and some children said, Mr. Pickles, because he had gotten himself in a pickle. Oh, that should have been a wholesome note. My gosh. To everybody at the fire department on Florida's Sanibel Island, and to Mr. Pickles the Turtle for getting himself caught in a terrible situation and getting rescued. Cheers. Sorry, Rebecca, I didn't see your question in the Facebook chat. So this is a beer that my father and I brewed. It's an Imperial Stout that we call 9250 because it looks like motor oil. And, it's got a kick. Thank you very much. And it knocked it out of the park. Alright, so that's going to get us out of flora and fauna. We're going to go to category 4, the wholesome notes. The articles we like to end on. We're going to start off with this first article that we called Homes for Heroes. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. A year into new initiative, Denver no longer has any homeless veterans living on the street, mayor says. This was posted to goodgoodgood.co on January 31st of 2025 by Cameron Baker. Veteran homelessness is pervasive in America. On a single night in January of 2024, over 32,000 veterans were experiencing homelessness across the country. But one major city has reached an exciting milestone. As of December 19th of 2024, Denver, Colorado ended street homelessness amongst veterans, according to Mayor Mike Johnston's office. Street homelessness refers to when someone lives on the streets or in other places not intended for human habitation, with no safe or sheltered place to go at night. The goal is to get to functional zero, a number that represents the fact that every veteran in the city has access to a safe, stable, and private place to sleep at night. This reduction in veteran homelessness came on the heels of Mayor Johnston's All in Mile High initiative, a program to reduce all homelessness in the city. On his first day in office, Johnston signed an emergency declaration to help 1,000 unhoused people get indoors by connecting them to housing and wraparound support services like mental health care, substance misuse treatment, and workforce training. That initial goal was met by the end of 2023, which led Johnston to up his goal to moving 2,000 people indoors by the end of 2024. Since the start of the program, more than 2,200 people experiencing homelessness have been brought inside, with 857 having secured permanent housing. Another priority of this program was ending unsheltered veteran homelessness within 2024. We are incredibly proud to announce that Denver has ended the cycle of street homelessness for our veterans, Mayor Johnston said in a press conference in December. That means for the first time ever, no veteran has to sleep on the streets in Denver. It is because of our shared commitment with partners across the city that today we can promise every single Denverite who served our country a warm bed and room of their own. The way this was executed was through a system that quickly identifies veterans that are experiencing homelessness, connects them to services, and helps them get housed. Since the summer of 2024, more than 100 veterans have been identified and brought inside. Of the 18 veterans that were still outdoors in December, 12 had been connected with services and were on the path to housing, and 6 were situated with a warm place indoors to move to when they were ready. Sometimes veterans experiencing homelessness are reluctant to accept support, according to Missy Mish, the section chief for the VA of Eastern Colorado's homeless programs. We are seeing more and more veterans who are willing to accept support and come inside because of the quality of the services being offered, she said. The All in Mile High initiative has proven to be a game changer for veterans in the Denver area. A major component of this program was coordinating service providers across the city to share information on veterans entering into homelessness, then working with permanent housing partners to help veterans get on the right track to thrive. As a result of extensive outreach, expanded transitional housing capacity, and improved facilities, veterans living in Denver are choosing to come off the streets and take advantage of available services, a press release from the mayor's office said. According to the city, prioritizing these services has allowed homelessness among veterans to be resolved within the day they seek assistance. Funding for this work was accomplished through a number of offices, including Denver's Department of Housing Stability, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, Denver Housing Authority, Volunteers of America Colorado, Community Solutions, and Metro Denver Homeless Initiative. Nobody who fought to protect our country should have to come back home and fight to survive again on the streets of our city, Johnston said. While the homelessness crisis as a whole is far from eradicated in Denver, this milestone represents significant progress. Denver is proving that homelessness is solvable, said Melanie Lewis Dickerson, with nonprofit Community Solutions, which aims to transform homeless response systems in cities nationwide. We work with nearly 150 communities across the country, and the Metro Denver region is a bright spot of what is possible when you have a collaborative, cross-functional homeless response system that is using real-time, person-centered data to drive reductions in veteran homelessness. While the city celebrates major strides, individuals too are grateful for their own progress. For years, I struggled with homelessness. In 2021, I arrived in Denver looking for a fresh start, but quickly found myself living out of my vehicle, said Brian Asbeck, a local Navy veteran. After months of hardship, I turned to the VA for help and was introduced to transformative programs. Thanks to these life-changing resources, I've not only escaped homelessness, but rebuilt my life. To everybody in Denver, Colorado, working to tackle the homelessness pandemic that we seem to be under. well, that we are under. There's no seam about it. And especially finding homes for the veterans of the United States. Cheers. Last article of the night called this Denver's been really cool this week, because we've had 3 articles out of Denver. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Mona in the YouTube chat, this is fantastic. Way to go, Denver. Cheers to Denver. New tech helps Denver snow angels go above and beyond as they shovel out neighbors in need. This was posted to denver7.com, and it was posted on January 25th of 2025 by Adria Iraheta. Volunteers for the Denver Snow Angels program were out in force on Saturday shoveling sidewalks for older Coloradans and people living with disabilities. I got the email around 10:13 a.m. and I was like, okay, ready to go grab that shovel and start shoveling, said volunteer Paul Rosenthal. Snow angels like Rosenthal help folks in Denver who are physically unable to shovel their front sidewalks. Sorry. I don't contact the neighbors inside, and they don't know who showed up and shoveled their sidewalk. Sort of one of those random acts of kindness, said Rosenthal. Though the program, a Denver Human Rights and Community Partnerships initiative, isn't new to the city, it was recently revamped for efficiency. New technology implemented through Denver Technology Services Automation Center of Excellence program automatically pairs homes in need with volunteers near those areas. During a Snow Angels activation, volunteers receive an email listing addresses needing assistance within those neighborhoods they selected when they submitted their applications. As Denver 7 followed Rosenthal on his random acts of kindness on Saturday morning, we saw just how streamlined the process is. I have the address, and then I just go ahead and click on it, and then I update it, and it says, in progress. Then when it's done, we just click on it, and it says it's done, he explained. In addition to the new technology, the Denver Snow Angels program website now has a dashboard listing the number of houses shoveled during any given storm and the number of houses shoveled year to date, which are good numbers to track. There are a lot of neighbors who can't shovel their own snow, and that's why the program's there, to help out those neighbors, said Rosenthal. If you want to volunteer or receive assistance, there is a link in the article to learn more and submit applications. The City of Denver added that it's important to note that they also need new applications from previously registered residents, whether they still need assistance or would like to continue volunteering. Given how much snow I can imagine Denver gets, snow angels are a godsend. So to the snow angels and to the City of Denver for implementing new technology to get the snow angels out where they need to go to shovel for the elderly and the infirm. Cheers. And producer Donna hitting us with that knowledge. 152 houses shoveled this year alone. Mona in the YouTube chat. Thank you, Snow Angels. Well, that was fantastic. 6 good news articles tonight, ranging from turtles getting stuck to new materials being made by machine learning, to snow angels shoveling snow for folks in need, and the elimination of veteran homelessness in Denver, Colorado. Wow. Oh, another update from producer Donna. Tesla Tree Service, who we talk about now and then. They're a great service. They have saved another cat, up to 5 cats this year, and the cat rescues are always free. It's always good to have those little updates. Well, that's about it. Thank you all so very much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nix News Facebook page or the YouTube page. Again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode is sadly going to be on February 9th, 2025. I am well aware that there is some sort of very large sports ball game going on. I don't care. We're still going to broadcast. Maybe it will be during the halftime show. Who knows? But we're going to be broadcasting at our regular time, so there's no reason not to tune into both. Thank you very much, Tim, in the Facebook chat. Great stories tonight. Thank you. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, by all means, you can message us suggestions for news brews, shout-outs, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes. Again, if you do suggest articles, we aren't taking posts that are Facebook posts, but if it's got a link, send us the link. Just copy and paste the link out of there. Do not send us the Facebook post. Just send us the link and we'll go with it. And also, we do appreciate a variety of articles across our 4 categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles we like to end on. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are available for all of those. We monitor them pretty much all throughout the day, so if you send us anything, we're going to get it. That's about it. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment on our Facebook and YouTube videos, on our posts throughout the week, on our Instagram to get good news and joy out into the algorithm. I'm never going to tell you what to do, but gosh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate every like and follow and subscribe to the YouTube. It really is. Everything's growing, and I love all of you for helping us grow and continuing to spread that good news. We've started to look into doing paid ads with Nick's News to basically spread our influence. Producer Donna actually did an ad with us, or for us, and got it posted, and interesting results, and we're hoping to see more in the future. So we are really pushing to expand the good news into the algorithm and push that bad news out. So, and share from Rebecca in the Facebook chat. Share. Facebook, YouTube, share them. Sharing's caring. We're just trying to get that stuff out there. And again, thank you so much for everything that you have all done to promote Nick's News. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. As always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.